I'm Bob Kunst, and I'm president of two groups, Shalom International out of Miami Beach, and our website is defendjerusalem.net. And in this last year, we've done 59 protests and rallies to keep Jerusalem united, no two-state insanity that would split Israel and finish off the Jewish state, and certainly no funding for terrorists, especially Hamas. And of course, the key issue we've presented in nearly 700 interviews and news media that we've gotten in this entire process of leading the opposition in Annapolis and in front of the White House and at the Democratic and Republican conventions and at the first debate in Oxford, Mississippi, at the UN. We've certainly carried the day in about 30 different cities on this whole issue, but the issue from us is, how do you make peace with somebody who wants to kill you? And since my whole history has been one of being a pioneer, from Anita Bryant to taking on and starting the whole Hillary Clinton campaign through our HillaryNow.com website. And you can see all of our history there. We started in August of 2003, and here I was going to 210 cities and over 1,000 news interviews and putting out nearly 500 news releases and getting millions of flyers out and buttons and stickers and T-shirts and what have you. And the reason why Hillary is not the candidate in the Democratic Party is because her people never even bothered to deal with grassroots, which Obama did. And the reason why she's not the nominee is because nobody in her national headquarters even bothered to give us a phone call, even though we were the strength of her grassroots movement. And even though we kept on warning her over and over again, you need to talk about national defense, national security, the war on terror, as much as you want to deal with health care and economics, the bottom line is she didn't want to do it. And by the time they caught on, it was too late. Obama went for the delegates, she went for the vote, he went for the grassroots, she went for the big dollars, and lost the campaign because there's something about that DC gang and mentality that was only interested in how they can put money in their own pockets. They could care less about the rest of the country. And we see it very much reflected in how the crooks have bailed out the crooks in this worldwide global economic meltdown that's been going on within the recent period of time. I'm bringing all this up because, as a lifelong Democrat and somebody who's been a pioneer in all of these social issues, and you can go to the Hillary Now website or Google me, you'll see the reason why I've gotten over 31,000 news interviews out there is because for the first time in my life, and I have never supported a Republican, I'm going to be voting for John McCain. Not because I'm wild about McCain or wild about Palin, but I see the dangers very, very seriously in terms of what Obama represents or misrepresents. And this is a very traumatic thing for me because while I have pioneered this other approach my whole life, all of a sudden I'm doing a reverse. And the reverse to me is based on the work that I have done through Shalom International. Since 1989, we've done over 150 different anti-Nazi events, and I've been to 31 death camps. And when I look at the issue of Israel and its survival, whether you like Israel or not, or you like Jews or not, if Israel is sacrificed in the politics of what's going on here, America is next. We are interwoven whether we like it or not. And so for me, I cannot jeopardize either American security or Israeli security based on the information of what I know is going on here. There are several reasons why I'm opposed to the whole Obama faction. I want to just start with the fact that I think the media has been so one-sided against McCain and Palin to the point of obnoxiousness. I see this in very fascist terms, that if you don't trust the public with the truth and present both sides and let them make the decision, something is wrong with this picture. The fact that the media has decided to cover up for everything that Obama is doing, to me, is one of the problems here. In doing over 30 demonstrations against Obama in various cities, what I've noticed is something extremely dangerous and very difficult for me to digest, being a fighter my whole life for civil rights and human rights. It's very difficult for me to accept being called a racist, and I'm part of the Klan, and every time I challenge anything Obama says, all of a sudden I'm a racist and deserve the worst of the worst, and I've been called everything under the sun and FU'd and fingered and everything else under that they could throw at me. And sort of this kind of brown shirt of fascism that's out there as part of his campaign has been extremely unraveling to me, because I see it as part of the great danger and the picture of why I'm so concerned here. And then I look at the fact that now, whether it be James Carville or a lady who wore a T-shirt recently that I saw said Obama or else, and I asked her what is all what does all else mean? And she says, all hell will break loose. Like we're all of a sudden being intimidated that if Obama's not the guy, there'll be riots all over the streets and all hell will break loose. And I said to her, gee, I thought all hell already had broken loose. I have been very anxious about this type of approach and mentality. And then I look at the McCain camp. I'm trying to figure out the slogan, which is country first, which I support and is great. And then I keep wondering, are you here to save capitalism? Are you here to save conservatism? Are you here to save evangelicalism? Are you here to, I don't even know what you're talking about anymore. I'm trying to figure out what the issue is. And yet, when I'm presented with the case of Obama, I have to get back to what is created in my own mind, the reason why I'm moving into McCain's direction. Because the issue for me is Hamas. When I saw Jimmy Carter in April meeting with Hamas in violation of Title 18 of U.S. law on not giving any sustenance or any recognition to a terrorist group, and here is Carter violating everything under the sun to do it. Or when Robert Malley, who was part of his camp, met with Hamas, and then they had to fire him because of the controversy. Or just this last October, when Obama's people were meeting with Muslims and Hamas in Washington, D.C., and all of a sudden discover Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas, once again, part of this whole campaign. The fact that Hamas has come out to endorse Obama is something I have to take recognition of. The fact that he's getting money from Saudi Arabia and Iran and Hamas and Palestinians and what have you, the Arabs are definitely into that camp. But what I'm concerned about is when you look at people like Reverend Wright and Louis Farrakhan, Nation of Islam, and these people are not just anti-Israel and pro-Hamas, they're anti-gay, they're anti-Jewish, they're anti-white, they're anti-everything that you and I would agree is not part of what the so-called makeup of America is all about, and this diversity that Obama says he's going to unite. In other words, he's got people behind him who represent the danger. And for me, I don't want to see that gang in the White House. I don't want them to have a seat at the table, because I really believe that the very people who could throw out the threat that if you don't elect this guy, we're going to have riots in the streets, if that's the mentality that's behind that, which is the same mentality that's behind the destruction of Israel and is pro-Hamas, then the bottom line for me is something is wrong with this picture and I have to react. As a lifelong Democrat,